Hello everybody, good evening. My name is Satyajit. I'm faculty for Sociology and Indian Society, likely. So I'm going to discuss one question from this program of daily answer writing practice that is going on our online platform with YouTube. And on behalf of Nandip Academy, I would like to welcome you all on this initiative. So let's discuss today's question from GS1 Indian Society. The question is very interesting, by the way. This question is about one important issue that is India is facing on large. This issue is called as lowering sex ratio. So we'll discuss about that. UPSC had asked this question in 2014 for 10 marks. So we'll first read out the question. Why do some of the most prosperous regions of India have an adverse sex ratio for women? Give your arguments, okay? So the question again is very simple and one-dimensional question. I would like to say, by the way, there is only one sub part in this question. Why do some of the most prosperous regions in India have adverse sex ratio for women? So firstly, I would like to discuss what is the context behind it. As you can observe, the sex ratio can be 1000 to 1000 or 1:1 because the men and women, they get the birth on the biologically unequal basis. But to be more precise, statistically, if 100 women are getting birth, 104 men can take birth naturally without any human interference. But day by day, due to various practices like female feticide, infanticide, and other such like we are going to discuss about it, like sex selective abortions and etc. The sex ratio is lowering in many prosperous regions or many regions in India. But out of that, one highlighting point you must mention that the sex selective abortions are on rampant basis in some of the most prosperous regions. Okay, so the poverty is not behind that phenomena called as lowering of sex ratio. So the UPSC wants to focus on that part. Despite they are really well-off families, prosperous families, why they are performing the sex selective abortions, and in those regions only why the sex ratio is lowering. We have to discuss that. You have to argue in favor of that, why this is happening. Okay, so this question is for 10 markers. So we are given with two different pages to write upon, and we will first design that topic, that question. Okay, so what are the important keywords here we would like to focus on? The very important is the most prosperous regions. Okay, prosperous regions, you have to focus on that. These regions, they are economically well off. Okay, they are economically and socially well off, and in these regions the sex ratio is lowering. And why? Okay, so this is point. And the adverse sex ratio for women. Okay, you have to give arguments in that. So this is the point, you have to focus on those regions. Let's first design the answer. Okay, just a second. As it is 10 marker, we are given with two separate pages here, blank separate pages. And likely, as very a convention, maybe as a formality, you will introduce here, okay, as 2 to 3 lines, and you will conclude into 2 to 3 lines. Okay, not more than 30 words for introduction and not more than 35 words for conclusion, in case of 10 markers or 15 markers. But here there is very important word they have mentioned. That word is prosperous regions. Okay, so you have to focus on that also. One of the most prosperous regions of India. Okay, so this is very important word here. There can be an innovation in this question, as if you can draw map of India, and on that map of India, if you can show which are the prosperous regions of India where the sex ratio is lowering in adverse to, let's say, in against of, in not so favorable the woman. So you can mention those geographical regions, geographical places on India map. Okay, so that can be one important innovation here. And at the same time, you can start the body from here. Okay, so body or the answer, the reasons behind. Okay, so you don't have to write the body as a word, but the reasons behind the lowering of the sex ratio. And I want such, let's say, 7 to 8 different points here. Okay, 7 to 8 different points. What are your arguments in favor of that? Why in such regions which are prosperous the sex ratio is lowering against women? You have to write that, and conclusion and introduction. Okay, but if I want to redesign it completely, okay, I can innovate like this. If I can draw a map here, okay, in this half of this page, the introduction part, I can draw a map where the regions are, let's say, we are observing the lowering of sex ratio. In that case, it will be very important to show this on the map of India. So you can show like here Punjab, Haryana, okay, some Marathwada, Western Maharashtra, okay, Delhi, NCR part, Uttar Pradesh, and few parts in Tamil Nadu and etc. Where they are prosperous regions, but still the sex ratio is lowering there. And in the second half, you can mention facts and data about the sex ratio. The facts like India has, okay, average sex ratio like this is, okay, you just fill in the blanks, 940, 943, and whatever the data is. And also the second of the introduction can be, in these prosperous regions, what is the sex ratio like Punjab, okay, like Delhi, okay, like Haryana, like Rajasthan, or few parts of Tamil Nadu and etc. The parts you are observing, you can show in introduction itself, look, in these regions which are prosperous because of green revolution and other industrial sectors, in these regions the sex ratio is below average of the national statistics. Okay, so and likewise you can start the body from here, the reasons behind the lowering of sex ratio, 1 2 3, okay, 4 5 6 7 8, and fine with 8 points because the validation part is done on the part of the diagram and data. And you can provide conclusion here. The conclusion can be the possible solutions to improve the sex ratio, the possible solutions, what government is doing in that, and what needs to be done more. It can be the conclusion. Okay, so this can be your structure of the answer, where you will introduce with the facts and data about sex ratio on national average and sex ratio in these prosperous regions, and that's how we can create the context. And you can start with the reasons and followed by the conclusion, where you should talk about what government is doing and what more initiatives that needs to be done on part of the complete society. Okay, now let's discuss about the content itself. Okay, the content is very importantly, what are the reasons behind that? The first is very important. The socio-economic factors are there because of the rising nuclear families and economic prosperity. Because of that, I mean, economic prosperities, the families which are more prosperous, they prefer a smaller size of families. Okay, they don't go for 5 to 6 children, etc., but they go for maximum 2 children. And in that case, if they have choice of having only one children or two maximum, they will prefer a boy or a male child. Okay, so basically because of that, the lowering of the family size, the choice is becoming important, as the male or the boy child is considered as Vamshada Diva or son meta preference or an economic asset in future. Okay, so in because of that rising prosperity in families, the number of members in the families is getting lowered. And because of that lowering of member of families or the number of size, I mean the size of the family, the choice is becoming more important, and the families are choosing for boys, not girls. Okay, so the socio-economic factors are important for that. Gender discrimination is a very continued practice, and because of various discriminations on various parts like family, domestic parts, or even public sphere and even private space. So you can observe, because of gender discrimination, their health, their education, their human rights, their well-being is getting compromised. And because of that attitude and mindset, the sex ratio is lowering, and the families or the complete society is not actually welcoming the birth of girl child. Importantly, technology is again helping a lot in that case. I mean, I would like to say a negative tone of helping. Because of the sonography machines and the sex determination machines, we can actually detect the sex of that fetus when it is in the womb. So because of that technological advancements, we can perform abortions in the womb itself, and that is how the sex selective abortions, the families are preferring in against of the birth. Okay, so the technological advancements like ultrasound or sonography machines and etc., they are helping a lot in that case of the sex-selective abortions. Additionally, the family pressure is very important, because the society and the family as a part of society pressurizes that couple to go for the male child, or the birth of the male, boy or the male is welcome. So family pressure is very important for this sex related practices, and many of the times the couple get succumbed to the pressure of the family, and abortions are performed because of the family pressures. Cultural norms are there because of the sun meta preference, that is called as Vanshada Diva. The culture actually prefers or gives importance to the male child. So cultural practices, their role in religion, their role in family, their role in economy, their role in politics is welcome, and it is actually recognized, but not the role of the woman is recognized in all these spheres. So that's why the cultural norms are responsible for this. Many of the times you can observe there are some, let's say, the religious practices or the customs like Ashtaputra Saubhagyavati Bhava. There is the word Ashtaputra, okay, so not Ashtaputri. So because of those cultural practices, the birth of male child is preferred and welcomed, and not the girl child. Okay, so cultural norms are responsible for this. Government policies also actually actually you can say contributing a lot in lowering of the sex ratio. Let's say, for example, there are government laws which actually go for, or which actually prescribes the number of children if you want the government services, and in that case, to lower the number of members or the size of the family might perform the abortions of the girl child. Okay, so government policies are again adding to that. That's the implementation and the enforcement of the laws and policies against sexual practices may vary. And in many states, we can observe the implementation of the PCPNDT Act, okay, that act for the abortions, illegal abortions is PCPNDT. The implementation is not at par with the other states, or there is variations in the implementation. Urbanization process also is very important contributor to this lowering of the sex ratio, because in urbanization, with the rapid urbanization, we observe gender biases and large in society, the family size is lowering, and in that case, if the family wants to choose the sex of the child, it will prefer boy or the male. So urbanization is again very important. And in conclusion, you may write how we can lower the sex ratio. I mean, what we can, I mean, I'm really sorry about it, but how we can improve the sex ratio and what government is doing in that case. If you can recall one important scheme that government is actually is working a lot on, that scheme is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, and that scheme is specially designed to improve the sex ratio among these adverse sex ratio fields called as Punjab and Haryana. In that case, government is doing a lot to improve women's health, women's education, women entrepreneurship, and government is doing a lot in social empowerment cases of empowering women in complete sense. But still, some issues or lacunas are there in this scheme. So the second half of your conclusion should be in that way, what needs to be done more, how the awareness campaigns can improve the situation, how the change in the mindset can improve the situation, how the women empowerment as a whole and doing away with the gender biases in our mindsets can perform a great deal in this improving sex ratio. That can be a conclusion. So I would like to read what we have given. To address this issue, it's crucial to promote gender equality through awareness campaigns, okay, and education and economic opportunities for women, while also enforcing stricter regulations against sex selective practices is very important. So at the same time, I would like to mention this point also. You can talk about mindset, you can talk about patriarchal attitudes, you can talk about change in the image of the woman, but at the same time, we need to focus on the implementation of these laws, PCP and Act especially. So in both the way, implementation of the law and change in the attitude of society, these two ways, these two strategies, two-pronged strategy can work greatly in improving the women's sex ratio in the fields of society and economy of India. Okay, so the first half of the conclusion will be government initiatives, and second half, what needs to be done more. So on these lines, I would like to conclude the answer of this question, and I would like to meet you again in another session. Thank you very much.